Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are today. My name is Sherisse Alexander, and today I am joined by SuZan. Please say your last name because I know I'm not
Peltakian.
Peltakian. Peltakian. I love it.
Perfect, Sherisse.
I'm curious, what's the origin of that name? I don't want to make an assumption.
Armenian.
Armenian.
Yes.
Lovely. Peltakian. I really have a thing about making sure that I say people butcher my name all the time. And yeah, I get Cherie, Sherisse, Cheryl, all the names, none of them mine. So I really try to make sure that I get it right. So, anyways, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm not going to steal the thunder and introduce you about who and what you are and what it is that you are bringing to the world today. I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, SuZan. See, there, I did it
You
again.
are Sherisse, correct? I didn't butcher your name, right?
No, it's Sherisse.
Okay, you saw me do a face. I'm like, oh, what a joy it is to be here. And you are such an exceptional soul. I was just telling you off the recording that I was listening to a couple of your fantastic podcasts, and it is truly a movement. It's not only a podcast. Now, to diminish podcasts is fantastic, and I'm so for it. You say personal growth, intentional living, and meaningful,
Mm-hmm.
right? Meaningful life. This is what I'm all about. Very briefly, my vision is to co-create yours, whoever's listening in. If we can touch one soul today, may we touch more. And I'm all for the human race living their juiciest life by design. This is what I live by. I retired from real estate 5 years ago, right before COVID. It was 2 weeks ago, so we didn't know. 2 weeks ago, I celebrated 5 years, and we didn't know yet that COVID had hit us. And I just made one decision that I'm no longer doing this, because what I do now is what I've always wanted to do, Sherisse. It's my divine purpose. It's my childhood dream. I live by it, and it's my life's dedication and devotion to ensure that we get to together raise the conscious awareness of our planet as I get goosebumps one precious soul at a time. Beyond privileged and delighted to be here with you
Thank you.
and anyone listening in. Yes, my
I
joy.
I'm curious. You said that you always knew that. So, did you always know you wanted to coach? That's what you're saying. You always knew, or do you mean you always knew that you wanted to serve?
Great question. To speak. To
Okay.
speak. I
Okay.
wanted, yes, I am a speaker and a coach, and I don't think as a child I knew what a coach was. It wasn't
Vocabulary.
yes, in my vocab, but absolutely, I've been wanting to be on the stages, rah-rahing people to live their best life. And if we do get an opportunity, I'd like to say that thankfully I do something extremely different, yet it seems like the same, but it isn't.
Okay. We are going to dive
Yeah.
into that a little. I'm curious because so many of the guests that I've been talking to, a lot of people were making these massive changes in their life around COVID. You're the second person in 2 days to say, right before the lockdown, I made this massive decision and then the world shuts down and then I
Yes.
don't know. I'm curious if you went through, oh my gosh, was this the right decision? Like the world has shut, like nobody knows what's going on. Talk a little bit about that transition and that decision to actually just leave, because real estate can be very, very lucrative and
Yes.
a tough thing to walk away from. So, how did you realize that it's time to do this?
Oh, what a great question. No one's asked me that. And mine had not once have I doubted it, because I've wanted to do it my entire life, Sherisse, and I never believed in myself. So finally, that's it. I just couldn't pick up the phone anymore. Not only can it be lucrative, they call it like the golden chains, because most people that go in don't go out, whatever they're earning, right? That's it, right? And for me, this is all I've wanted, and that was it. I made a decision, but I didn't give part two of the question of the story. Was that right then, within that first year, the number one Remax worldwide, that happens to be a Canadian brand, by the way, filled up all of my coaching spots.
Lovely.
So that, right, so that it's like I teach the law of attraction, and then there you have the number one, which, by the way, they're like this most exceptional company. It's never worked with them, like they're just exceptional people, and it's just fun to be in their energy, and I still get to coach a lot of their agents.
Mm-hmm.
So that just worked out.
So it was an easy transition because realistically, when every single spot fills up, you're like, okay, ding, 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 ding. This was clearly the right decision to make at this time. Like when you Yeah.
Yes, yes. I mean, there were other challenges with COVID, but this had nothing to do with, yeah. And I discussed this on a
Yeah.
podcast last night. That's
Yeah.
funny you say that, that a lot of, I think, precious souls woke up during that time.
Yes.
My decision was literally made right before. It was end of January. I didn't know a thing about COVID, and that's when it all happened.
Time was such an interesting time. My second son, when you got a plan and then something like this happens, and I think in some ways you can feel so robbed. And for him during his experience, I remember because he was really, really upset. And, you start to ask these questions like, why? Like, why is this happening? And I said to him, I said, you're forgetting the beautiful gift that you received, right? With this lockdown, with like this shifting from this thing that you were super passionate about that you can't pursue right now, but it opened up this beautiful thing that you are, which is art, that you
Wow.
like this. And he's really, really passionate about it. And I said, that's the gift. And I said, so let's not necessarily focus. And I know this other thing was also you were very, very passionate about, but look at this other beautiful thing that you received because of this thing that was like such a crisis globally. And so
Yes.
I think often, myself included, in the midst of crisis or chaos, it's so tricky to like really stay uplifted and stay inspired and even today. As I was journaling, literally what I wrote was, please remind me throughout this day to stay heart centered, to see the beauty, to find gratitude in like all the little things that happen around us. So for you and the clients that you work with, and especially something such as real estate sales, and I do have a
Yes.
background in that as well. So I know how
Yes.
important mindset is. How do you get people to like not focus on what they don't have and to like already see it, already know it's coming and really stay up there and positive? What are some real practical things that people can employ in their day to day to stay lifted?
I love that question, Sherisse. Thank you. And I love how heart centered you truly are. The number one thing, if I may invite you to, is already to see yourself as that instead of actually asking for it. Just declare that you are, because you are truly it. You
Thank you.
radiated. Look at that, right? Yeah, I'm getting more goosebumps over here, girl. Yes, but it's that knowingness, by the way. And the years of work, by the way, have allowed me beyond deep faith is to have that knowingness, but it's years of work, right?
Yes.
But for you, while you're journaling, I think journaling is a fantastic supercharge shifter. It's a great, practice, but declaring it, right? And because that's the number one thing also, that you say I am, whatever we say after I am, we become.
Mm-hmm.
So as you've declared it, just like a priest can declare us husband and wife, it's the same concept. You declare, you have that power. The creator, God, universe, spirit has given you that power to actually declare what you want in your life. Right. And then part of it would be gratitude and being in gratitude. Part of it is constant shifting of the mindset of actually not just asking for what we want, but being grateful for what we do have. As you said to your
Mm-hmm.
son, I love that practice, but that takes practice, right? And a lot of us, if I may talk about the be, do, have model, Cherise, are saying a lot of things or doing a lot of things. And this model took me years to get. Our listeners, you, I, literally can apply it right now, millisecond by millisecond. It doesn't take years. The irony is it took me years, and I thankfully get to, share it with our one world. And you can literally apply it. It's the be, do, have model. Have you heard of it?
Never. Share, please. I'm
Oh
excited.
my, okay.
Remind me.
Yes, please, because so most of us live in the bankrupt model of have, do, be. I was in it for most of my life. It's the conditional victim mentality. When I have the money, I'll feel secure. When I have the husband, I'll be happy. When I have the divorce, I'll be happy. When I have the kid, I'll be happy. When I have the money, I'll travel the world. Or when I have the money, I will hire an assistant. It's conditional on something outside that has to happen for me to be, right? And so I was in that bankrupt model for the majority of my life. And then I was in another bankrupt one. It's of do, have, be. Busy bee, as mortgage brokers, realtors, human beings, moms, dads, human beings. we all have the same 24 hours. How much can we do? And as a realtor, I was like hustling, which I don't believe in at all right now. I believe in effortless ease, right? And grinding and door knocking and the minus and the
Mm-hmm.
plus. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, yeah, but how many hours? Even if you hustle and grind, all we have, right, is 24 hours in a day. But it's the busy bee mentality of do, do, do. And they're both very much victim mentality. And who you are is not just an exquisite soul. You are number one of one. It took 1 in 400 trillion for you to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You're a miracle, a walking miracle, pure divine love. By you, I mean everyone listening in, because Sherisse being it doesn't take away from anyone. That's like, you are me, I am you, we are one, right? So it's like having that deep knowingness in every molecule within you, in every fiber within you, that you're feeling secure, not because of something outside, but because you
Mm-hmm.
are being it first. So the be to have model, so ironic that as human beings we've become human havings and human doings, if you will, instead of first and foremost to be what, SuZan? Be decisive. And I love how you asked that question no one has asked me yet, right? You said, well, you made the decision, were you okay then? Because COVID, that was a condition, remember that, right? And it was a big one in everyone's defense, right? And it was global, it is global. What happens is, in the law of attraction, once you make a decision, you've actually told universe that you have infinite faith, and everything will start working out for you, instead of us actually waiting for the how. Most are waiting for the how, so it's something conditional out there needs to change. Well, it ain't changing. What are we doing about it? And I teach Mahatma Gandhi's stuff at the core. Be the change you wish to see. So when we're
Yes.
being first, so be decisive, for example. Let me hire a coach, not say I don't have money, which most will, right? And then the money will come, but most don't see it that way. They're like, well, no, 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 I have to have the money first,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Very
Let me
evidential.
have the money to hire the assistant. Sorry.
Very evidential. I need to see it first before I can commit to it. And that is not how faith works. You got to commit and know it is yours and it's coming, or it's yours. It's there. It's already there.
Thank you. It is already there. It is already done. That's the other thing, that it's beyond faith. It's a knowingness, as you just mentioned so beautifully, Sherisse, is that everything, creation is complete. Everything is energy. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. And the simplest way of saying it is that, hey, water, it's just changing form into ice. So all the materials are here. Like when one of my mentors, he was on The Secret, Bob Proctor, he passed away 3 years ago this time. And at the beginning, when he would explain that, wow, we didn't discover the internet, it was always here, it just took aware. That's all. That's the only difference between each one of us. Difference in awareness.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's something I wanted to dive into a little bit more because this
please.
is like such,
Please.
especially in a sales driven environment, right? You talked about the hustle. And this is
Yes.
something that, um, I was in my workplace, I always talk about balance, right? And I think people really misunderstand what I mean when I talk about balance. But the real, and this might seem very, obvious, but in my mind, it's like we got to have balance. And this is really what I was trying to get at with my people. We must have balance in the trifecta: mind, body, and spirit. We must. If we do not have balance in work, we'll say, right? Or just it's not working, that's inevitably going to bleed over into all the other areas of your life. So,
Yeah.
how do you begin to get people to understand like this? You can feel the energy of it when you say hustle, right? The energy of
Yeah.
hustle is grinding. It doesn't flow. It's like gears. Like if I were to visualize it, it's like gears just it feels
Yes.
real sticky. How do you get
Yes.
people to really move into, or maybe what's something that you can suggest in terms of like, how do you just really surrender and understand that when we surrender and trust that it will
Yeah.
come, and don't get caught up in the how or when, just trust. How do you get people to do
Boy.
that in sales or any industry where there's that hustle energy?
Thank you so much. I think worldwide, everywhere, pretty much. Let me say most places so that I'm accurate. Wink, wink. Cherise, another great question. And I will answer this by continuing on the be to have. I didn't give an example of the be to have. So when we are, and I love how you use the word trifecta for mind, body, and soul. That's literally, and I didn't share this with you, I don't think, number zero at the Supercharge headquarters worldwide. That's the number one thing I invite all my precious souls, sales or not, doesn't matter. That's it. You must, it's a must, put yourself first, because when you take care of the inside, we can only give as much as we give ourselves.
That's very true.
Right?
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
we can't pour from an empty cup. So I always invite my precious peak performers worldwide to actually give away from their saucer. Fill it up so much that it's overflowing with love. But how can I be overflowing with love and ooze with it when I haven't taken care of number 0 on the list?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's really impossible. And it's the simple things that make us happy. Some sunshine, some grounding, walking, nature time, connection with loved ones, community, serving, right? So I'll answer that question by saying, first, when you're in the being of what, for example, the powerful way of being is being of service. I said your love before. Love is service. If we look at it, I was on the phone, so I'll give you my example. I'm on the phones. We're doing Money Mondays, and I'm hustling and grinding all day from I've woken up at 4 a.m., Sherisse, gym, trainer, this, that. I'm at the office first thing. No one's there. It's, freezing cold outside, minus probably 40 at the time. And we're at the office on a Google Hangout, similar to this, right? And at the beginning, when I started my journey and didn't understand the beat, all day, if I made calls, I'd get no leads, no sales, no listing appointments. What was that? Remember I said we're all energy. Energy can't be created nor destroyed. You don't have to be with me here, right? Even on camera, to sense that
Yep.
she's just trying to get.
Yes.
And no one's a piece of me
Desperation.
here.
Yep.
Right? Thank you. Desperation, exactly. Money
Mm-hmm.
sign, dollar sign.
People can
Gimme,
feel
gimme,
that,
gimme.
and it really repels.
Thank you. Right? So that's why the Be Do Have model is such a magical model that you said, it's a tool that can literally be used infinite times a day, all day, every day. It's also a tool that you can just rejig throughout the day, come back to it. Who am I being? You're on the phone for an hour and everyone's hanging up on you, versus they're maybe not buying, but they're saying thank you for calling me, which I've had,
Yes.
right? Versus, hey, come list me. So I've had Money Mondays where the whole day I call 200-300 contacts, nothing. I've had calls, no more Money Mondays, no more hustling, no more grinding. First call on Google Hangouts with my Google Hangouts group at the time. Hey guys, this first one is going to be a listing appointment. I'm going to go sign them up and serve them right away.
Yes.
We rang the bell. So what was that? It was a shift in energy.
Yes.
Here I was, as I was inviting you to declare what you want, declared it. I was stepping into my powerful self instead of my victim self, right? And I was just creating it by design versus by default. Does that answer at all?
100%. It actually reminds me of, those really successful months that I had as a broker. And whenever I was in the energy, and even hoarderish, right? Like, I'm going to keep this deal.
Yes.
I'm not going to split it with anybody. I don't want anybody to work on it with me. Anytime I moved into that energy, that deal literally slipped through my hands. If I moved into the energy of, I'm here to serve you,
Yes.
This is a huge purchase. If you love me, great. If you don't, my feelings won't be hurt. I'm here to educate you and help you make the biggest purchase of your life. And when I was in that energy, it was like raining abundance, because the energy was just so different. So I totally understand what you mean when you say the B piece of it, but I don't think I was as conscious of it then as I am today.
Well, how fantastic that you weren't conscious and you were applying it. My manager kept telling me and I just didn't. It was like banging my head against the wall. It was like trying to catch my imaginary tail. I mean, I'm so grateful for the suffering, because now I get to actually, I know what it's like and I can actually explain it and people will really receive it from me.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the B piece. And then,
And then the do is, from that powerful beingness, take inspired action. No hustling and grinding. So notice it was an all-day calling. This is a great example on the court, which was really me. 2, hey guys, 1 call. Imagine showing up like that moment to moment in your life. What would be possible? Because all of scarcity is man-made.
Mm-hmm.
Abundance is our
100%.
divine birthright.
Absolutely.
Right? And then the having it all is your divine birthright. So be, do, have. And rinse and repeat throughout the day. And if things aren't working out the way you want with anyone, like an area that is working out, you know that you're showing up as that person, your highest self, that could be the B. And in areas that ain't working as well, more than likely we are, it always goes back to who we're being.
Yes. Yep. I just had that conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
We were talking about the mirror, and she gave such a great example. We were talking about relationships. And I often say to people, relationships are an opportunity to really learn about yourself, right? Because the people we interact with are mirrors of what's going on with us. We don't always see it because it doesn't show up in an obvious way, but that energy is still there. So I love the reminder that, if there is a challenge, it really is and that's not absolving outside external parties. It's just an awareness that, okay, there's something in me that's showing up in this way. What is it? It's an opportunity for self-inquiry, introspection. What's going on with you that is being reflected? So let's talk about that a little bit. We're
Yes.
struggling. Is there a process that you guide your clients through in terms of, because some people are like, well, what kind of questions would I ask? How do I even know where to begin? And then how do I know what the answer is, right? Like, if you think about the work, now you and I've talked about
Yeah.
this over, years, where do you start?
Whoa, what a great question. So moment to moment with the be do have, it could really be in stop. I could just ask myself, I'll answer it twofold, like who am I being? Because
Mm,
we would be aware, and I love your awareness, and I've said that to you before, I love how, yes, everyone is indeed a mirror, and they're an opportunity for our growth. They're really gifts, and sometimes we're like, no thank you, please return that gift, but really they are our gifts, right?
mm-hmm.
So it could be that you ask yourself an empowering question, or in this particular scenario, it could be like, literally, who am I being? Because if you ask yourself that, all of the answers are within. That's the magic within you. And all of the answers are in the question. We would know who we're being if
Yeah.
we silence all the chatter and be like, okay, I'm hustling and grinding. Okay, my rent is coming due, or my mortgage is coming due now, or I haven't done a deal in months, like most realtors haven't, right? Or mortgage brokers, especially in the last couple of years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a scarcity mindset, so that if they were to ask the question and stop and pause and go within, the answers there. But on a larger scale, this is something that I would really invite all precious souls to do, is to know this. This is what I was going to say at the beginning. I said, if I hope we have an opportunity, so we'll co-create it now. I thought, Sherisse, because again, I didn't know this info I'm about to share, all I wanted to be was like, rah, rah, I have the loud voice. Let me get on stage. I'm bubbly. Let me rah, rah people
Yeah.
and motivate them to live their best. I just have a deep, deep love for humanity. And I'm seeing that glorious sunshine on your glorious smile. It's very nice to see. As it's dark over here, it's nighttime. That's great.
It is a great time of day.
But oh, that is so beautiful. I love it. What it is so I wanted to do the rah rah thing, not being aware of what I'm about to share, which is gold now. This is my life's mission, to share what I'm about to share here to our one world, to all the billions. So Zig Ziglar has said motivation doesn't last, just like bathing doesn't. But when I learned this from Bob Proctor, who was one of my mentors from The Secret, who passed away 3 years ago, he said the only prerequisite to having it all is knowing what you want.
Yes.
How many of us grew up with that, Sherisse? How many of us? We were literally pure. Like, you're born in the perfect vibration, born with perfect DNA. Your ways of being, not so much, girl.
Yes.
I live in the biggest glass house. That's the beauty and the privilege of being a human in this body, right? Is to actually experience the adventure of life by making learning our lessons, right? This is our spiritual journey. It's so beautiful and brilliant. But so in our ways of being, we're not perfect, but in our DNA, we are.
Yes.
There's literally royal blood coursing through us. And there's a caveat: we don't get what we want, we get who we're being. But how many of us were told, hey, we're perfect in our vibration when we were born?
No,
How many of us
rarely.
knew we were perfect? By the way, we all knew as babies. Baby never poops 1 minute, it's laughing, it doesn't think it's crazy, it doesn't call itself names. With its chubby legs, it doesn't think they're ugly. The
Yeah.
baby loves itself,
Yes.
but himself, herself, right?
Yep.
And then 3, 4, whatever age group, 5, we go to school. All of a sudden, most of us have been told a version of sit at the corner and shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And now imagine we're all those little children in adult bodies walking around, aren't self-expressed, that's causing disease,
Yes.
right? All of disease is lack of ease in the body,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're mentally not well, we're physically not well, and then we're numbing. And the story goes on. I'll keep it positive unless you'd like me to go there. So what did you ask there? So coming back to, first foremost, I would invite everyone to take literal pen to paper and start with their vision.
Yes.
That's number, like that's the biggest tool I would invite everyone to have, and not write out your vision and then have it collect dust like most treadmills this time of the year.
100%.
Really, right?
Yep.
And then remember, we don't get what we want, we get who we're being. That's the caveat.
Mm-hmm.
And that being piece is super important. You'll know that as self-identity or identity, self-image, self-concept. And now we want to, as a tool, and I don't have any stocks in this company, and there are other ones. I have the app called ThinkUp to actually record your vision and listen to it on auto loop. It's a yes.
Love that.
Yes, please. All your affirmations, your self-image, the vision, I give it to everybody. Thank you. I'm glad you didn't know, so I can.
I'm grabbing my notepad because I'm like, she's giving me a couple of juicy nuggets here that I got to remember to think up, you said.
Yes, think up. Yes, I highly recommend it. But really, the vision first, because the only prerequisite to having it all is knowing what we want. And what I have found, Sherisse, from my work as a coach, because although the company celebrated 5 years, I've been doing this for free for years prior, and the originals are still with me.
Wow.
Yeah, we were realtors from the Mike Ferry system, and we stayed friends, and so it's just a joy. It was free at the beginning. I started charging them. They stayed. I upped their investment. They upgraded. They stayed. But their self-image has been, and remember, self-image is key to basically the life that we have, because we can never outperform our self-image. So most of us, for example, mine would have been that I didn't have any self-belief. By the way, I looked this bubbly and this happy, but it was all toxic positivity.
Mm-hmm.
So 95 to 98% of our result is coming from the subconscious,
Right.
Not the way we think. I thought I was confident.
Yes.
Well, that was just in my conscious 2 to 5%, right? I thought I was really positive. Well, when I started seeing who I was attracting.
Yes.
And right, because we're attracting people, places, and circumstances that are in vibrational harmony with who we're being.
Let's pause there for a second.
Yes.
Because that is not a number that I think most people know, because I only learned it like literally 1 or 2 weeks ago, that 3 to 5% of your processing actual conscious power, that's all that your brain is using, 3 to 5%. The rest is subconscious programming patterns and belief.
Yes.
So think about that, people, because I know when I was saying it to my son, I'm like, think about that. 95 to 97% of what you are thinking, doing, being is subconscious. And most people are not even aware because it's subconscious, right? So, and I think that's an important piece. And the reason why I wanted to stop there just for a moment is because you talked about vision and having a very, very clear idea. And you're right. How can you be what it is you envision if you don't know what, and this was something I struggled with. I'm literally going along in this path, mortgage broker for many years, until it didn't, I knew it wasn't the place for me anymore when my belly wasn't on fire anymore. I'm like, I am doing a disservice to people now because this doesn't light my soul any longer. It feels like work, and it's your passion when it doesn't feel like work. If it feels like work, we got to move on. We got to shift. We got to tweak. We got to do something different. But then I started on this journey where I was like, okay, this feels like the right direction. I think I don't this is literally the talk going on in my head. I think it's not that anymore. I know that I could go back to it, but I really don't want to go back to it. But I'm going on this new path and I'm like, but I'm not sure. There's so much I don't know. Right. And then, but I kept going. And then,
so proud.
And just trusting that eventually, and I realized now that what was going on is I was collecting tools, people, resources, connections, knowledge, experience. And now I know what to do with it. But it took a really long time. I won't lie, people. It took a really long time to actually have it all finally crystallize. And I think that's what I would say is that I'm not really sure what it is. I have an idea of the direction that that it's going to involve, but I'm going to trust that when the time is right, the divine will tell me. They will give me a sign, it'll be an idea, and it'll give me goosebumps. It'll be the thing that just literally lights me up. And it happened like 3 weeks ago, where I finally was like, I got it. I know what I'm supposed to do. So anyways, getting back to my actual question within that,
Oh,
how do you,
congrats.
thanks. If you don't know, how do you figure it out?
Well, what a great question. And I'm going to answer that. I want to acknowledge you because I shared on a podcast yesterday that I felt like I was cheating on myself. That was like, and you shared a different word. But I knew what I wanted. And I find that I'm one of less and less people who do know. Remember, if we don't know, and everything, by the way, I get to share with our precious souls worldwide is biblical, like is in the Bible. Without a vision the people perish. But I don't teach religion, I don't teach theology. It's the law of attraction and mindset. But imagine just like we hop on a plane, but the plane doesn't know where it's going. Like, where is it gonna, like, there is, right. So, and I love your story that you kept trusting and that way of being allowed for you to keep opening things up. You believe that there was more. And by the way, kudos to you because you have guts that you said that if, and everyone is gutsy, but most of us don't step into, don't say, hey, there's no belly in my fire. I'm going to, there's no fire in my belly.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I'm not going to go to work. Oh, it's, for most, it actually does feel like work. So I'm very like elated to hear this. I'm not surprised given your spark, and everyone has that, but most aren't aware. So I literally would invite them to take pen to paper and turn phones off. Like, water, beach is my happy place. For a lot of people it is, right? Go to somewhere where your soul is on fire and literally, without considerations, Sherisse, of time past, of money you have, money you don't have, your age, how many children you have, how many children you don't have, what your past was, because it's all story and it's all made up. We're now literally going to create it by design, because
Yes.
people come to me to learn how to manifest. We're already super powerful manifestors. I teach them to get out of the way by using the biggest real estate, the one between their two ears, right? Which is limitless. That's who you are, right? So that, to get out of the way so that they can actually create by design versus by default. So manifest by design versus manifest. We're manifesting all day, every day, right? And so from there, you said how is literally to write down the story of your life the way you want it to be on a couple pieces of paper from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed. What do you want? How do you want to live your life? What sort of impact do you want to make? What sort of money do you want to create? What sort of contribution, charities, travels, love? What, anything and everything you want. The universe is literally our buffet, except most of the time, what most people are doing, I'm going to stop so I know what you're laughing, are asking for what they don't want.
Yeah.
The universe doesn't hear the negation.
They do not.
So they keep getting more of it.
Yeah.
What's coming up for you?
It was so, because as you said that, I was thinking about how overwhelming that can be for many people. So imagine this, a little visualization. When you go to a restaurant and there's a menu that's like 20 pages long, how easy is it to make a decision?
It
Right?
isn't.
Exactly.
It isn't.
And that's what was coming up when you were saying that, because I had a conversation with my youngest son like 2 or 3 days ago, where he's at this really exciting point in life where he's at that point, right, where he gets to create. And I said, what I was writing down was like hobby versus career, right? Because sometimes people get caught up in, well, I already know what I love, but like I can't make money with that. And I remember reading somewhere, and I don't remember exactly where it was, is who said you needed to make money at it? Like, and what I mean when I say that, that's not to say you can't, but even just to get yourself started. If, let's say, your thing is podcasting, just start. I'm not making money with this, and that's not the intention with it. It's just, I enjoy doing it. It's fun. I meet cool people. It allows a creative outlet. And that's not to say that I'm not welcoming abundance in. It's just saying
Yeah.
it's not my focus. And so who
Yeah.
knows what happens from there, right? And so maybe part of that vision is stop putting limits on, but I can't make a living out of that. That's not the question. It's how do you feel when you do something that you love? And so I was giving my son the exact same advice there, or direction. I said, you know what? Sit down with your journal. I said, and think it, feel it, see it, smell it, touch it, like really embody it when you are envisioning this life, because that is actually manifestation. You have to be in it. You can't just think, oh, I just love a lovely job where I, work for 4 hours a day and I go surfing or whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
You got to, and like really, really put yourself in what that vision is. And I think that's sometimes the disconnect that people have. And then, of course, the overwhelming opportunities that the globe presents, the universe. Sorry.
100%. Sorry, anything else you wanted to add there?
No, that's what I was laughing about.
Yeah. But I love it because you actually gave the answer. It's just start for whoever's listening in. It can be overwhelming, and not to diminish that one may feel it. It's all story. Let's not buy into it. And that's part of the programming, by the way. We were told if we wanted something more, no, shut up and sit at the corner. I mean, I'm generalizing. It's a version of that. No, I want that toy too. No, you have this or that. Well, the universe is this and this and this and this and there. Because we're not in the practice of it, thank you, with the menu, right?
Yes.
It's like, well, no, now I'm overwhelmed. So what do we want? Do we want to just have burgers every day, or do we want to have the options? And that is why less than 1% owns the 99. And that is why it's my life's work to ensure that the 99, should they want to, become part of less than 1% of the 1%. And it all starts with knowing what we want. We don't have to do it all today, but today, the minute this is airing for your precious listeners, when they listen, is to start right away, pen to paper. And if it's hard to really imagine, because we have been stifled by it, by the way, like it's not, I 100% back up what you're saying. I want to be very authentic and honest. Obviously, it's easy for me now because I'm in the practice of it. I have been for years. At the same time, I want to be authentic and say, hey, you're God's highest form of creation. Let's stop playing small.
Yes.
Let's not say this is hard, because when we say hard, we've now created hard, Sherisse.
Yeah.
That's part of our subconscious conditioning. We do, but we were told at 3, 4, 5, hey, stop dreaming. We were told to line up to go to get into class. We were told we had to raise our hands to take care of some biological need instead of actually walking to the bathroom, right? So we've been so programmed. They say, Sherisse, and I believe this, but my work doesn't go that far, that we've been programmed generationally.
Yes.
We're breaking generational patterns.
Absolutely.
Awesome souls like yourself, like you're literally not just for the generations past, but for the ones coming. Yeah, you are it. You are the game changer, right? And whoever's listening in, of course. And hello, precious soul. And beyond that, Sherisse, is okay. So we have the conscious, we have the subconscious. This is all programming. Now that we know it, we catch it. We go back to the practice. Well, what do I want? The story is too far out right now that I can't imagine. Wait a minute, like I just left my mortgage business. I'm in debt, not you, like someone out there, right? And I can't even pay my mortgage, or I just lost my house. Where do I start? It starts with an awareness, if you will, of knowing that whatever's happening outside this millisecond, we can just, for this practice, just put it aside to actually write down what you want, because the universe doesn't understand negations, and it will deliver and what you want, but you have got to be clear on what you want and trust the process. So write it down. If a vision sounds too much, start with a want list. That's simpler. Like, this is the type of car I'd like, this is the type of house, this is the type of neighborhood. Because what I find ironic, I didn't share this, Sherisse, is how did I attract the #1 Remax worldwide girl? Listen to this. I didn't share this part of the story. I interviewed them as a Remax agent. I had refused to work with them.
Wow.
The owner asked me, God bless him, if you go to my IG, he's pinned up, my biggest supporter. Hello, Kenny, if you're listening in. Fantastic, limitless, beautiful soul. He goes, you did? Because he goes, what do you want to do? Because right? Like with, I said, I want to touch the billions. He goes, I'm going to help you,
Yeah.
right? And I said, well, I'd interviewed your company. I'd gone with another Remax. He said, why? I said, it's rare that I dislike someone. I didn't like who I interviewed at the time. And that's what had happened. But soul-wise, I love how you're so heart-centered. And I mentioned that earlier. They're so heart-centered that I felt so connected. But the path wasn't that I work with this soulful young man, this soulful company that just, their business is to build businesses. That's my vision, is to co-create yours. But
There's a synergy. Yep.
years later, full circle.
Yep.
And here he knew the truth. He didn't care. He supported me like 100%. He continues to, after 5 years, we've maintained a beautiful relationship. So do you see, like, but I had a vision that, hey, I'm going to be touching all the billions. Well, how did number one Remax when I had walked away and he knew the truth and he didn't care?
Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that. And the
Well,
synchronicity of it.
thank you.
I wanted
That
to,
is for everyone, Sherisse. For everybody. Just
and
get clear on what you want. That's it.
it's lovely though that you, and I love, what I love about talking to you is like you have this, like this fire, this spark, this passion, this excitement that's like contagious. And what I wrote down here was like, because your suggestion was like, sit down, write your list, think about and envision what it is that you want for yourself. And there was something that I was reminded of, which is, how do we open up the creative energy to actually get there? Because you talked about children, and here's what I love about kids. When you really sit back and watch kids, doesn't matter if you have them or not, but when you really just take a step back and observe them, they are just hilarious because they play with delight. Your imaginations are just absolutely limitless. They tell the most zany stories. They come up with the craziest things because their imagination is like wide open. Nothing has come to like suppress that. So they're super creative. They could tell you very clearly what they want. They want this, they want that, da 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 da, so on and so forth. And yes, I can have it all because nothing has told me that I can't yet. But as we obviously go through life, that energy gets smaller and smaller and smaller unless you're in one of the industries that allows you and really encourages you to be very, very creative. So how do we get people to tap into their creative energy? It's tough. And the reason I say that is I remember for many years, I would say, I'm not creative. But then I shifted my perspective and I was like, wait a minute, I might not be artistic, but I am certainly creative because I am a really excellent mortgage broker at being very creative on like matching clients with lenders. And that was the perspective that I shifted. So I wasn't artistic, but I was very, very creative. I had a very crazy knack for thinking outside of the box on how we not make something, but encourage a synergy between lender and clients. How do we encourage people to figure out or really start to open up that creativity?
This is fantastic. I can answer it in so many different ways, and I'm realizing time is flying and I'm not going deep enough into answering anything. I want to make a difference.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We'll do this again. How about that?
No, because I haven't even spoken about, I wrote down so many things. You had said just start. I said the answers are within and you gave me. It's to literally just, because, okay, how do I answer this in the most impactful way? First of all, what you said there, beautiful awareness. We mirror each other 100% because I'm not artistic. I thought I wasn't creative. We're all co-creators. So first, I would invite Precious Souls to keep tuning in to your podcast, your brilliant podcast, because I listen, right? It's awareness. Remember, I was sharing that earlier. I didn't know that everything already exists. If you can get clear on what you want, whatever big it is, the universe doesn't understand, by the way, between a non-existent Canadian red penny and multi-millions or billions.
Yes.
Most of us aren't asking big enough, right? Yeah. So it just requires clarity, and it could be with one decision. Just like I told you, when we make a decision, things open up. We don't know the how. So it could be a decision that, hey, I'm done listening to the stories, because they're all stories, not to diminish them. We all have them. We've dealt with a lot of trauma as human beings.
Yes.
Right? But they're all stories, and we get to co-author a new one. Or if we don't get with the impact of it, that could be a reverse way of doing it. The pain of it is program yourself, or life has already programmed you.
Mm-hmm.
But we must, like, and it could, creative process could literally start by saying, I'm writing it. Like, it literally could be you write down 100 things that you like and start. I wrote down, you said just start to your son. It could be literally just start with one thing. Everyone can come up with, hey, I want a nicer house, or I want a condo by the water, or I want to travel the world. Well, from just traveling the world, you could like come up with 100 other
Yeah.
things. Well, where do you want to go? How do you want to go? Do you want to go first class? Do you want to be in business class? Like, these are all experiences that you could be, and it could literally even be taken from the be do have list. Who do I want to be? What things do I want to do? And what things do I want to have? Right? Because then we're contributing to our mankind with a higher level of beingness by stepping into who we really are, who the creator made us to be, Sherisse. From there, we're taking inspired action. Even if you buy a car that's $1 million, how many jobs did it take to create that car?
Yes.
But how many of us would have a story that we're greedy or it's wrong?
Yeah. See, perspective is so important.
Thank you for saying that. That's one of our higher faculties. So it would really, perception is, and perspective, it's truly everything. It's how you view things is how things are
100%.
gonna be. So the first thing would be, please, as you're listening to this brilliant young lady's brilliant podcast, you take pen to paper and just write. And when you, by the way, when you give up the resistance, which it's the resistance of, oh, but I can't, or the consideration of time, of money, of all the stories, right? Not to diminish them, we dealt with them. And if we keep repeating them, that's what we're creating newly. Our tomorrow is not going to be any different. It's going to be just like yesterday. Versus, well, wait a minute, there's a reason that the creator put this desire. If he put that desire in you, it must come to pass. It's law.
Yes, there is a reason. So don't question that reason, right? Like there
Yeah.
is a reason.
Yes, and if we don't take the time to do it, it's done for us.
Mm-hmm.
You're basically David's Michelangelo. All we're doing is chipping away. And if you're not willing to chip away, there's a beautiful sculpture underneath. We're never going to have the awareness of it.
Yeah.
But that everyone is Michelangelo's David, and our entire work, yes, there's a lot of learning to become aware, but there's so much unlearning, Sherisse. And what I get to do with my people, all these, I'm so grateful for you to invite me to make the difference for our precious people, is the unlearning, so that at the beginning, when you start becoming unaware, you're still fish in water, you're just going to a bigger tank. My entire work is to build those wings for you to realize that you are a super powerful co-creator. You get to fly and choose your life by design. But if you don't take the pen first, it ain't ever gonna happen.
There was, I want to give you an opportunity because, I could just ask you questions all day long and you would never give an opportunity to go because it's just such a great conversation. But I wanted to actually give you an opportunity. Is there something that you wanted to dive into a little bit more with the, little bit of time that we have left?
Well, I think we didn't go into the conscious, subconscious. That would help people a lot. So
Yeah.
let me give an example, because I said the self. So if I could review it, first and foremost, the only prerequisite to having it all is knowing what you want. From there, there's the caveat: we don't get what we want, we get who we're being. That's the self-image. Okay, the self-image is in our subconscious, and 95 to 98 or 97, depending on which book you read. So about 98%, let's say, of our everything that we're experiencing outside is coming from the subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, the diet industry's thriving with multi-billions, maybe multi-trillions now. There isn't really a weight issue, Sherisse. It's a self-image thing, and they've really they're right. What it is alter your self-image, you alter your life.
Yeah.
And you really need to get clear on what those limiting beliefs are. We all have so many. I've had clients who join at the beginning, they're like, oh, I don't have any. I'm like, wow, must be nice. I mean,
I don't have any trauma.
right? 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 I mean, right? And I mean, it takes so much to be a human being. And I want to be so authentic and say, like, my paradigms, the paradigms are the habitual ways of being, the ones in the subconscious, all it's interested in is sleep, drink, party, sleep, drink, eat. That's all it really cares. It's the soul, it's being tapped in. You said I'm passionate because, whoa, we get to make a difference. We owe it to our mankind, Sherisse. But everyone listening in, listen up. You owe it to yourself, to your children, to break the generational patterns. You owe it to your community. You owe it, for God's sake, to our one world, to raise your conscious awareness, because the best gift we can give our mankind, Sherisse, is our own well-being. Whether you're a mom and it's to your kids, whether you're a partner to your spouse, but to anyone. Imagine if I showed up here and I was so miserable and sulky to be here.
Yep.
Who would want to listen in? Nobody,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
So it's work on the subconscious. Sorry if I may quickly share a hack. So in case someone is stopped to say, well, I don't know. Like, we don't know what we don't know, right?
Yes.
It's like in my subconscious, look at your results.
Oh.
Quickest hack. Let's say you're extremely happily married. Well, whoa, that means you have great conditioning there, more than likely. Let's say you have extreme patterns with a marriage that's not working, or habitual ways of being with a man, or with money, or what might be with weight, whatever it is, because it's not a weight thing, as I said. Well, what are our limiting beliefs?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're literally going to just become whatever we believe. Alter that, you alter your life.
And I think that for the listeners, you know, one thing to maybe go back to, listeners, watchers, sorry, this is new video. So
hello, it's such a privilege. Great work, girl.
Those are the audience. You know, the thing with changing the patterns of belief, the subconscious, is you can't do it all at once. We've all done this where you want to go and make a change, and I've definitely done this. Let me not say we've all done this, where I'm like, okay, I want to change this, 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 and this. And I've got a list of like 8 things. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do them all. And I'll dive in, and what I read last week was like, you can't actually approach these things like that, because your brain, it's too much. It's too much change. So you gotta be very, very methodical with this. So, I think what we would invite you to do is pick one thing you really, really, really want to change. So if it's your image around your physical being, if it's your ideas around money, if it's your ideas around relationships, whatever it is, pick that one thing and start to get real curious. And I love the word curious because it's inquisitive, but with like a, not in a judgy way, but in a inquisitive, like playful, like questioning, but like, I just really kind of want to know. I want to understand. Like, it is a very different kind of light energy. So think about a child. When a child is asking you questions, they're not asking you. That's why I love talking to kids, because they're so honest.
Yes.
They are, and
yes.
I will always laugh, even when children say things that are offensive. I'm like, you are so funny. You're so honest, and thank you for that. So when you get curious, think about how a child is curious and the way that they ask questions. They ask questions because they're sponges and they just want to know. So be like that with yourself. Be a child with yourself. Ask yourself questions the way that a child would ask you questions. And this will, I think, ultimately lead you to the answers that you're seeking around what you envision for your life. What is that inspired action? What is the direction? So, because I know for me, the trickiest thing is getting to those answers and not knowing how to get there. So this one literally was inspired in this moment because I didn't do it like a child.
Sherisse, I love that. And being curious, we were told the big lie that curiosity killed the cat. I thought it was wrong my entire life. It's such a beautiful, as you said, way of being. That is, I couldn't have said it better. You said it so perfectly. Is literally go back when you're at the beach or wherever you are that inspires you, makes you happy. Turn the phones off. Turn all of the noise and the chattering. Go back to your 5-year-old self is what I wanted to say. So thank you for saying it so much more beautifully. Is that, and just, what did you want? One minute you were an astronaut, the next minute you were a nurse or a doctor, and there was really no limit. And being told that sky's the limit is another lie. There is no limits. The sky's an illusion, right? So really believe that and believe in yourself, and know that if you're listening to Sherisse right now and you're tuned in, this is divinely. And you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to your, to breaking the generational patterns. You owe it. So do it.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining me today. I loved this chat. It was really inspiring, and I took a lot of really juicy notes. If there's one thing that you really just wanted to close with today and leave the audience with, what would it be? One last thing, if there was one.
their divinity. I'm getting more, just know who you are. Our entire work, you don't really get to, I mean, you're not really finding out. We get to remember when you
Yes.
silence all of the chatter and don't listen to the outside noise of whatever it is you actually know, because what I'm saying will strike a chord with the essence and the core of who you are. Know that in every molecule within you, in every cell in your body, that you are literally number one of one. It took 1 in 400 trillion for you to be here. Now go act like that miracle, because if you don't, the results aren't going to be there. And if you do, you will literally create heaven on earth. And that is your divine birthright.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
My joy.
Thank you again for joining myself and SuZan on today's episode, where SuZan shared her Be, Do, Have model. As always, it is my genuine hope and desire that the content that I'm bringing is assisting you in your daily life, your weekly life, your monthly life. And as always, I'm always welcome to hear your thoughts, feelings, ideas, your feedback. If you'd like to be a guest on the podcast or any such feedback, I'm pleased inviting you to share. And again, if you like the content, like, follow, subscribe, share, comment, all the things. And until next time, please take care of yourselves.